welcome back to Strip to the Soul, the podcast where we deep dive all things inner work, self-love, and what it means to be a woman in today's world. So my name is Jade, and I just want to say I'm so grateful you're here because today we've got important things to talk about, girly. We are unpacking a topic that is another layer deeper than my heartbreak episode 2 episodes ago. And this topic isn't always easy to face, but it's absolutely essential for growth. And that is loving the truth, especially if the truth hurts. Because as I reflected on that podcast episode, I really started to go a little bit deeper with the different heartbreaks and things that I've gone through and understand, that through those things, I learned a lot. And also I had to face a lot through it. And loving the truth isn't about, forcing yourself to endure unnecessary pain. It's actually about choosing growth over comfort and clarity over illusion. It's kind of choosing freedom, like freedom within, over the fleeting satisfaction of almost hearing what you want to hear. And for me, that truth that hurt me the most, many truths in the last year that, my ex had found someone else, that I got fired from my job, the guy that I was dating decided to get with his ex-girlfriend from 7 years ago. We love that. But as much as all those truths hurt me so much, they freed me. It freed me to let go of that relationship and to heal and to create space for something better, a better job, a better man, a new life in a way. And I promise you, if you are willing to face your own hard truths, they can do the same for you. So almost if you're in a difficult situation or you find yourself in a place that you kind of want to run away, like this is me saying, don't resist it. Sit with it and let it teach you, and trust that on the other side of the difficult situation or of the truth, that there is freedom waiting for you. Because let's be real for a second. Comforting truths are nice, right? Of course, it's going to be great to hear that you're beautiful and you're doing amazing, but let's be real, they don't always push us forward. Like that doesn't challenge us to grow beyond our comfort zones or to almost uncover the blind spots that hold us back. So maybe where we're attached in ways or dependent, codependent, like these truths that hurt, they're actually the things that transform us. And it's the truth that has the power to break us open in ways and peel back the layers of denial and help us rebuild something stronger and something more authentic within us. So in that heartbreak episode, I shared about how heartbreak was my greatest teacher, shaping me not just into a woman, but into a better human being. And this episode, I want to take it even deeper, and I want to explore the power of just knowing the truth, even when it feels like it might shatter you. And I want to talk about what happens when you actually accept the truth, and the kind that makes you question almost what you thought you wanted, or makes you question who you thought you were. So let's get into it. It's a lot of shadow work, but we're here for it. The first thing that I do want to say is you have to get to a place where you can accept where you're at, what your reality is, and also a place where you love the truth, even the hard stuff, like you love all of it. Not just the truths that validate you or make you feel good, like someone loving you, but the ones that challenge you and shake you and maybe even devastate you, because these are the truths that set you free. And I'll be honest, this isn't an easy mindset to embrace or an easy place to get to. I know how, firsthand, how tempting it is to cling onto comforts and lies and half-truths, because for a long time I did this with a guy. I clung onto, parts of the story or his lies, and I wanted to believe what felt good instead of facing what was real. And here's the thing, when you avoid the hard truths, you're also avoiding the growth that they bring and the opportunities and blessings in your life. Like, you are blocking your blessings. And if you think about it, if the truth was always easy, would you even truly grow? Because growth does not come from comfort. It comes when you're being stretched and called out and being forced to confront the parts of yourself that you might not want to see, or also admit that you're maybe done with a situation or a job and it's time to level up and move on. And relationships, for example, are big mirrors for these uncomfortable truths, because relationships reflect back to us our patterns and our insecurities and also our blind spots. But the beautiful part is you can learn to appreciate the hard truths even when they hurt, because that discomfort that you're feeling, that's the beginning of change. So in relationships, the truth that you might realize is that you're so jealous. This could be a hard truth that you have to admit. And then you can see where you're not free, and then you're able to then grow and work on yourself. Or you could have the truth that you could literally find out the truth that someone did something to you, like what happened to me. Well, I reframe that. They didn't do it to me, but they did something and it affected me. But it also gave me the opportunity to walk away and move on. And having this shift in perspective is the gift. Being wrong isn't an enemy. In fact, I think recognizing that something is wrong is one of the most liberating things that you can do. And what's more dangerous is mistaking wrong for right. So think about that for a moment. If you know that you're on the wrong path, you can pivot, you can course correct. But if you convince yourself that wrong is right, you stay stuck. So me knowing that my office job wasn't right for me, if I didn't choose to believe that and I, convinced myself that it was the right thing and I stayed, I was trapped in a cycle that wasn't serving me because I wasn't afraid to face the truth. So maybe you're holding on to a relationship that you've convinced yourself is quote unquote right, and you've built a story around it, telling yourself it's what you need, it's what you deserve, or it's what you should want. But deep down, there's that feeling, that nagging feeling that something is off. A part of you knows it's not right, and admitting that to yourself is so hard. It challenges your ego, first of all. It's vulnerable and it can be painful because, you have to then make changes in your life, which logistically aren't always easy as well as emotionally. But once you do, you free yourself to choose something better and something more aligned with who you're becoming. Same goes for work environments. If you know it's not right and you're choosing to stay, that's one thing. But admitting to yourself it's not right and then having to be okay, I now have to find something else, or I have to start my own business or do something, or, walk away from this dream, quote unquote, dream job that I thought I wanted and potentially be judged by other people. That is uncomfortable. But then once you do, you're free. And this is why it's so important to value facts as well as feelings. Feelings are, of course, valid. That's the feeling inside of you that's telling you something's not right. But it's not always reliable, especially when it comes to relationships, because our feelings can be often shaped by our ego and our fears and our wounds from past relationships. But when you kind of cut through that, the facts force us to see things for as they truly are and not just how we wish they were. And the truth doesn't always, care about your need to be right. We can convince ourselves why it's right for us to have that job, for example, but it's, that might not be true. And honestly, thank God for that, because our obsession with being right can be one of the biggest barriers to our growth and to the blessings that are coming in our lives or are waiting for us. And then we're just the ones blocking them because we need to be right, that, no, I work so hard and this is the right thing for me. And when you're clinging on to being right, you close yourself off, and you can actually become defensive and unwilling to see another perspective or admit that there's actually room to grow. But you need to get to a place where you can let go and open yourself up to, one, the unknown, but also the power of truth, because truth refines us. And I look at the hard ass truths that I've, honestly, when I think about it, like, imagine you're madly in love with someone and then they tell you, oh, by the way, I've met someone else and I think they're the one. It's like, that truth, oh my God. And then getting fired. That truth sucked. And then telling a guy you loved him, and then him telling you that he got with his ex from 7 years ago and now they're back together. Like, all of those things, I can tell you, were not comfortable. They were not nice truths to hear. But, it was painful and it was awful to go through and accept. But they reshaped me into something so much stronger. And life has this funny way of forcing us to confront truths, whether we're ready or not. Because clearly those people weren't right for me, and I would have wanted to cling on. And, you never know what happens in the future. But I know for sure I've grown so much as a person that, like, I wouldn't even re-enter one of those relationships, right? So those moments, as hard as they may be, are the things that propel us forward or guide us back into alignment, especially if we've lost ourselves in, like, say, a work environment or a relationship. And one thing that I have learned is we often grow through the most through our hardest times. Like I said this, like, heartbreak was my biggest teacher, because when life is smooth and easy, like, it's nice. But when challenge arises, it forces us to reflect and question and grow. Like, in relationships as well. Like, it's easy breezy, beautiful when things are good. But then when you had those hard conversations, or you're faced with the truth about life, maybe family member is sick or passed away, and, like, it forces you to really grow together in a relationship, or also as a person, like, by yourself. And in my own journey, I found that in the moments where I felt most broken, like, it was in these moments where I was being rebuilt. I didn't feel it at the time, of course. I was heartbroken and frozen, and it felt messy and unfair and exhausting, emotionally exhausting. But looking back, I can see how these moments shaped me and have prepared me and pushed me forward in life. So if you are going through something tough right now, I want you to remember that this is not happening to you. It is happening for you. And it doesn't mean that it's easy, but what it does mean is that it's meaningful. And these hard battles often prepare us for our greatest breakthroughs. And, I sometimes am like, why do I have to face these things in life? If I feel we've grappled with these questions, like, I'm a good person, I'm loving, I worked hard, whatever the story is. And this can also be the truth as well. You can be like, I showed up amazing, I did everything I could for this person. Like, why do quote unquote bad things happen to good people? Or why do I seem to face these hard battles? And what I've learned to do is, rather than having this story or this narrative, which in ways feels right, sometimes I do feel that way, I have to catch myself in those moments and refine what I'm saying and change the storyline around it. So rather than like, why is this happening to me? It's like, what is this teaching me? And I do like to believe that we aren't given a challenge, or we aren't presented with something in life that we aren't strong enough to get through. And, sometimes I would be like, I don't want to be strong all the time. Like, I'm so tired of being the strong one, or the one who has to get over things, or the one who has to have the good heart and still get hurt. But then instead I'm like, wow, like, how grateful am I that I am strong, or that I am loving, and not seeing it as a negative thing, just like not seeing the truth as a negative thing. That's where I'm trying to get with this episode, that the truth, even if it's absolutely brutal, as brutal as like the guy I love telling me he met someone else, like, as brutal as that was, it's liberating, because it's like that person is not meant for me. So I had to learn to love it. I had to learn to accept it. And, when I say love, I don't have to be like obsessed with it, but I had to be grateful. I had to have gratitude for knowing that, because as soon as I knew that, I was able to move on. I really started to fall in love with a guy this year, and it was the first guy that I was like, wow, like, I want to marry you. And, hearing that he had decided to get back with his ex from 7 years ago, like, it was heartbreaking, like, so heartbreaking. But I also had to love that truth for him, and it takes a lot to say that, but how could I say that I love him and hate that truth and hate that for him, and just have more love for the whole situation, and also for knowing that, and for it not, knowing it when I did, and for it not to go even further, or not to find out years later, or whatever could have been. So there's always a blessing in disguise, and you might not see it at the time, because one day when I meet the love of my life and I'm married, I will look back at all these truths and be so happy I found out, and so happy that they happened. Same with getting fired. Like, I know that I am grateful for it. I'm so grateful, as disheveling as it was in the moment, because I had all the fears of scarcity and everything come up. But we all go through things, and it's how we view what we're going through that can help us grow, and also move on faster and heal faster and find that next opportunity faster, because we're looking for it, we're ready for it, and we are realigning ourselves and transforming in the process. So yes, I hope you have taken something from this episode today. Thank you so much for joining me, for listening, for tuning in. If this episode did resonate with you, please share it with a friend or leave a review. It does help me a lot. Even just listening makes me so happy. So thank you. And remember that the truth might not always feel good in the moment, but it will always lead you somewhere greater. So until next time, stay strong, stay open, and stay true to your soul. Mwah.